Hello students, today we shall discuss preparation of alcohols. Let's see the flow chart first. There are various ways haloalkanes can be prepared. The first method is from alcohol. That means your starting material is alcohol, and under this you can see there are three headings. Alcohols can be converted to haloalkanes by these three different methods. The first method is by using haloacids, that means HCl, HBr or HI, whichever halogen you want in the haloalkane, you can take accordingly the haloacid. The next is using phosphorus trihalide or phosphorus pentahalide. And the last one is using SOCl2. Name of SOCl2 is thionyl chloride. The word thio is related to sulfur. Now here, as you can see, we have not written SOX2, we have written SOCl2. That means by this starting material you can prepare only chloroalkane. No other haloalkane can be prepared by this method. The second method is from hydrocarbons. Now when we say hydrocarbons, it can be either alkane or unsaturated hydrocarbons. So we have two methods under this. One is from alkane, that is free radical halogenation. If you check your notes on hydrocarbons which we have discussed recently, we have done the substitution reaction. So here we'll make use of the same method, that free radical halogenation of alkanes will give us haloalkane. We'll discuss each of these methods in detail, don't worry about that. The other one from alkenes. From alkenes you can have haloalkanes in two methods. The first method is addition of haloacids. Remember, here also we have used haloacids, here also we have used haloacids. But the difference is, here the OH of alcohol will be replaced by the halogen. And here, since alkenes having double bond, they will add up HX. If you remember, this is also a repetition. We have done it. And if you remember, we have discussed Markovnikov's rule. So here we shall make use of this rule in preparing the haloalkanes from alkenes. The other is addition of halogen. When we add halogen, this is also done. We have done this reaction earlier, and this will be giving you vicinal dihalide. Now, if you have heard and if you have listened to the audios and the videos carefully earlier, you know what are vicinal dihalides. All right. So these are the two methods. The third method is halogen exchange. That means you already have one kind of haloalkane. You can see I have written Rx dash, and if you want to convert it to Rx, then you have to choose a suitable source of halogen. Under this we have two name reactions. One is called Finkelstein reaction. This is very good to prepare iodoalkanes, and the other one is Schwarz reaction. This is exclusively for preparing fluoroalkanes. So this is the summary for preparation of haloalkanes. Remember, these are not suitable methods for preparation of haloarenes, only haloalkanes. Haloarenes we'll be discussing later. Okay, let's begin with the first method from alcohol using haloacids. As you can see here, I have written the general reaction. So here we have the general reaction, ROH plus HX giving you RX plus H2O. You can see here I have drawn a box to show that how water is eliminated. Now, if HX is HCl, then you need a catalyst to carry out the reaction. And the catalyst is anhydrous zinc chloride. Okay, anhydrous. I have not written the full form of anhydrous. As you know, zinc chloride has a tendency to absorb water. That kind of zinc chloride will not do. You have to choose the zinc chloride which is purely dry, no water of crystallization or not has absorbed any water. So you need zinc chloride and HCl together to carry out the reaction. The reason is HCl, since one of the smallest halogens, the bond length of HCl is much smaller and you need a lot of energy to break this bond. Moreover, the byproduct which is forming water, this water will be absorbed by the zinc chloride, which will shift the equilibrium towards right. So that is the purpose of using zinc chloride. And when you take HCl, it is important that you must heat it. So what happens? Haloalkanes so formed are insoluble. This haloalkane which will be formed during the course of reaction will be insoluble. All the alcohols are soluble, HCl is soluble, water is soluble, but the haloalkane which is formed, that is insoluble. Sorry, the water cannot be insoluble, water is the solvent only. So if the reaction has occurred, we will realize the progress of the reaction with the formation of precipitate. In other words, we say turbidity will be formed. So haloalkanes so formed are insoluble in water, hence appearance of turbidity confirms the formation of the product. Concentrated HCl and anhydrous zinc chloride mixture is known as Lucas reagent. Very important. Lucas reagent. And what is the purpose of this Lucas reagent? It helps you to identify different types of alcohol. Remember, not haloalkanes, different types of alcohol. Now, what do we mean by different types of alcohol? Primary alcohol, secondary alcohol, tertiary alcohol. Now, what is the difference in the behavior of Lucas reagent? You see, if you take primary alcohol and if you add Lucas reagent and don't heat it, okay, don't heat it, then there will be no turbidity at room temperature. That indicates that there will be no formation of haloalkane. That means no reaction has occurred. If you take secondary haloalkane and if you add Lucas reagent, you will find that turbidity is forming after few minutes at room temperature. Here also we don't heat, but it is forming when it's kept for some time. It shows that secondary alcohols are little more reactive than primary alcohols. And tertiary alcohol if we take and if you add Lucas reagent, there will be immediate turbidity without heating. Okay. So if I give you 3 different test tubes containing 3 different types of alcohols and ask you identify which one is what you need to do is you need to add Lucas reagent in all these 3. Wherever you find that immediate turbidity is appearing, you can conclude that that is tertiary. The other one in which turbidity appears after few minutes, in your textbook you will find it's written 5 minutes. It's not necessarily 5 minutes all the time. Few minutes, maybe minimum 5 minutes. Then you will see if turbidity appears, then you can conclude that that is secondary, and the one in which no turbidity appears, that will be tertiary. So that's how Lucas reagent is a very useful tool in identifying or differentiating between different types of alcohols. Now why does it happen? This happens because of the stability of the carbocation. As you can see here, we have drawn the box. Wherever the box is drawn means the bonds are breaking here. Alright. The bond is breaking here, the bond is breaking here. So the reaction will be governed very much by the bond enthalpies. Now whenever the bonds are broken, R will be forming as R+, that is a carbocation, and the reaction is governed by stability of carbocation. So as you know, primary carbocations are less stable than the secondary, and tertiary carbocation is most stable, and that is why the reaction is showing different trends with primary, secondary and tertiary. So to understand this, I have given you this question. This type of questions are always asked in the exam. Okay. Differentiate by a chemical test propan 1-ol and propan 2-ol. As you can see, both the alcohols, they have 3 carbons. In both the compounds, the functional group is alcohol. But in what way they are different? Their position isomers. In one, the OH is attached to carbon 1. In the other, the OH is attached to carbon 2. Whenever any functional group is attached to carbon 1, you know immediately it is primary. And here it is attached to carbon 2, that means it is secondary. Here is the structure. So we can make use of this Lucas reagent. So we add Lucas reagent to both. In secondary, turbidity will appear after a few minutes. In primary, there will be no turbidity even if you keep it for the whole day, provided you don't heat it. So that's how we can differentiate between the pairs. Now during exam, I don't want any one of you to write a paragraph on it. Just write the way I have written here in the form of equation. It's easy for the teachers as well to correct, and it's easy for you. It's consuming less time. If you don't remember the structures, you can simply name them. Okay, you write the name as given in the question. But one thing you need to know that one is primary, the other is secondary. Let's look at the second pair. Differentiate between butane 1-ol. Okay, this is not pair, 3 compounds. Butane 1-ol butan 2-ol, and 2-methyl-propan-2-ol. They are all isomers. Okay. Now butan 1-ol, as you can understand, OH is in first position, therefore it is primary. Butan 2-ol, OH is in the second position, so it is secondary. And here we have in 2 position we have 2 substituents. One is methyl, the other one is ol, that is alcohol. So when we have 2 substituents attached to same carbon, it has to be tertiary. So even if you do not know the structure, by knowing the name you should be able to differentiate which one is primary, secondary and tertiary. So we can make use of the same Lucas reagent again. So what we do here, to all the three I have written the structures. If you don't remember the structures, you simply write the names. Lucas reagent in all the three. The one in which turbidity will appear immediately, that will be tertiary alcohol. The one in which turbidity will not appear, it will be primary alcohol, and the one in which turbidity will appear after a few minutes is a secondary alcohol. That's how Lucas reagent helps us in differentiating between different types of alcohols. So next method is, if we want to prepare bromoalkane, then what should we do? To prepare chloroalkane, we have taken HCl. So you can understand, to prepare bromoalkane we should take HBr. Yes, we are taking HBr, CH3OH and HBr. I have drawn the box again to show loss of water. And the process is called reflux. Now the meaning of reflux means you are heating the mixture without allowing the liquid to vaporize. That means continuous evaporation and condensation takes place simultaneously. That is the process which is called reflux. Now you can note here, I have taken HBr which is 48%. That means not very strong, below 50%. And we get CH3Br and H2O, exactly the same way here. But the problem with HBr is you cannot prepare HBr beforehand because it is very unstable compound. So what happens, whenever we need HBr, we have to prepare it in the system itself, and we use the term in situ, in the situation itself, in situ. Okay. Now how do we prepare HBr in situ? To prepare HBr in situ, we need NaBr or KBr, and we treat it with sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid has 2 hydrogens. One of the hydrogens of sulfuric acid will be replaced by sodium. So we get NaHSO4, sodium hydrogen sulfate, is a well-known compound, plus HBr will be formed. Now the HBr so formed here, we can make use of it to react with alcohol, and we get haloalkane. Now we add both the steps, so you can see HBr and HBr gets cancelled. HBr and HBr gets cancelled. So final equation, we have ROH plus NaBr plus H2SO4 giving us RBr plus NaHSO4 plus water. Okay. Now similarly HI, we need to use HI to get iodoalkane. But in iodine is one of the largest halogens. So bond enthalpy is very low and it is very, very unstable. So HI also needs to be prepared in situ. You will find one of the in-text questions in your textbook that we cannot use the same method. We cannot take NaBr, NaI and H2SO4 or Ki or H2SO4 to generate HBr, because H2SO4 is not only acid, it is also a strong oxidizing agent. So what does it do? If HI is formed, definitely HI will be formed, as you can see in this equation. HI is forming, but the HI will immediately get oxidized by sulfuric acid to iodine. So instead of getting HI in the mixture, we will be landing up with iodine. So that definitely that is not our requirement. So what is the alternative? The alternative is the HI is prepared in situ by treating potassium iodide, that is the source of iodine, with phosphoric acid. 95% phosphoric acid. 95% means quite concentrated. So this concentrated phosphoric acid, when it is used, as you can see there, in phosphoric acid there are 3 hydrogens. Only one hydrogen will be replaced by potassium, KH2PO4. Potassium dihydrogen phosphate is formed together with HI. Now this HI will not get further oxidized because H3PO4 is not a strong oxidizing agent. So the HI so formed can be treated with alcohol to give you Ri. So that is how we prepare chloro, bromo and iodoalkane by using haloacids. Now remember, these methods are not suitable for preparing aromatic haloalkanes, that is haloarenes. The reason being, in haloarenes, if you want haloarenes to prepare, instead of alcohol you have to take phenol. Here you have taken ROH, here you have to take C6H5OH, that is phenol. But if you remember last time we have done, in phenol there is extensive resonance, because of which the carbon oxygen bond is partially double and is very difficult to break. So that is why this method is not suitable for preparation of haloarenes. So I have referred to my page number, page 286, the textbook which I have. You please refer to your textbook. The page number may not be same. This haloarenes cannot be prepared by this method. It is very often asked this question, that haloarenes cannot be prepared by treating phenol with haloacids. Haloarenes cannot be prepared, sorry. So with this we come to the end of the first method.